Can't start unless he's banging that desk.
You missed it. Last week I had a prop. I brought a book. I was banging on the book, but I forgot my prop this week.
All right. BangTheBook.com. We're here. Brian Bless and Kenny White, and it's Big Boy Football on Saturday. It is our preview for you. LSU, Alabama, Kenny, Alabama, #1 in the country. Steam on the tide here. Some places open 9.5. It's up to 13. Total on the game is 55. Before we dive into the specifics of these two teams, we'll just say recent history tells you these games are always close. In fact, LSU's won 2 of the last 3.
I was going to say, throw out the records in this situation, in this game, because they are such huge rivals, and this is the biggest game of the year. A&M may be a little better football team, and that was a great game down at College Station, but when Alabama and LSU get together, doesn't matter where it's at, it's going to be a tight, tough-fought football game.
And offensively, the Tigers, we always think of them with a stout defense, but it's their offense that is actually taking great strides forwards this year. Only 2 losses, both by a field goal. But Mettenberger's emergence, you got Hill approaching 1,000 yards rushing. They've got balance on offense.
They have so many weapons. You mentioned the quarterback and running backs, but Landry and Beckham, 2 of the best wide receivers in the country. Cam Cameron opened the offense up and said, Mettenberger, we're going to stretch the field. That's just opened the offense up for Jeremy Hill to run the football. Mettenberger averaging 10.8 yards per pass this year. It's amazing numbers.
Well, we talk about those recent games, Kenny, that LSU's had success against Bama, and it was basically, if they were going to do it, it was a dead-under game because their defense would have to frustrate Alabama. This year's edition of the Tigers, with the weapons we just talked about, they've got the potential to keep pace with Bama, even if it is high scoring.
Yeah, the only game they really were poor defensively, they allowed 44 points against Georgia, but when Georgia was rolling at that time, one of the best offenses in college football. Alabama doesn't play that way. Georgia plays fast. Both these teams play very slow, methodical. Alabama, 123 plays per game in their football games, 20 under the NCAA average. That's number 125 in the country. There's only 127 teams. LSU is 109th, 134 plays a game. Very methodical, pro-set style offenses.
You know, one of the most impressive things about Alabama, they've got NFL players on both sides of the ball year in, year out. But what's between the ears is what's impressive, Kenny. They found a way, even a team of this stature, they manufactured something to be motivated for the Tennessee games. They got, like Alabama needs bulletin board material, but they grabbed onto something that Tennessee said, and they walked in there with a chip on their shoulder and beat them 45-10.
Oh, that's Nick Saban for you, and he has his teams prepared. It doesn't matter who you're going to play. He's going to come out, and his team's going to play the game. Will he cover every game? No, because he's going to take his starters out, and he's going to put his foot on the brake and not run scores up and out just to get players in there, get them experience. Outstanding head coach, always well prepared.
You know, the only real significant trend to spot here, the odds makers have done a really good job with Bama and LSU against the spread on the sides. But LSU has been an over team, 7-2 to the over is the only maybe stick out amongst the two.
Well, the biggest reason for that is the new offense. Obviously, when you're going off scores from the last couple of years, and you even look at these 2 games, the last 2 they've played in this series, 21-17 last year in LSU, and 9-6 in overtime the year before that. Very low scoring. But those teams were not as wide open as they are today, and that's why LSU is a 7-2 over team, because they throw the ball down the field with Mettenberger.
Are you on board with this move? And then the question would be, will there be buyback, or is Bama just such a public team that it steams up even closer to 2 touchdowns?
No, there'll be buyback here. 13 is just too big of a number for these 2 conference rivals. And even in any game in the SEC, when you see double-digit points, you have to look at the underdog first. I don't care who you're looking at. These teams are just so well organized and coached that they're going to be in the football game.
More than it starts with covering the spread, but more than a puncher's chance to pull off the win for LSU?
Oh, yeah, I think there definitely is. You know, they were 4.5-point underdog 2 years ago when they did pull off the win. So much tighter football game. I thought that spread should have been more about 7.5, and I was wrong. This year, 13, I think it's way too high. I think the number should probably be around 9.5, 10. I think you're going to see it come down.
All right, after the great games on Thursday night, the marquee game on Saturday, SEC rivals LSU and Alabama, and it's available to you right here at bangthebook.com.